Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to another Wednesday Divine Soul Awakening, where we are a group of psychics and spiritual mediums helping everyone to align to their higher selves, awaken while lifting up humanity. And today we are super excited to have Marjorie Reynolds come back and join us again to talk about Akashic Records. Woohoo!
All right.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back, Marjorie.
Thank you for having me.
We're always so excited about you. You're always such a wealth of knowledge and quite passionate, and we know how passionate you are about Akashic Records. And today you're going to talk to us about Akashic Records, how to get into our hearts with it. I'm just going to pass it on to you because I really am going to hurt it if I talk any more about it. But I'd love to hear more about Akashic Records.
Okay. So for me, I came into the records very early in my journey. I started first doing Akashic Records guided meditations. That was the first way that I was introduced to the records, but without knowing. And it was something that it felt just very natural to me. I was always going into the same meditation, that it was pre-recorded, but it was like an Akashic field meditation. And that was before taking any meditation classes, and that was before doing anything. So it felt very natural to me. And I had really great experiences that I could not explain. And that is when I started journaling and doing everything that I do. I started getting into a bigger depth with my rituals and everything, but it all started there. I was not aware that that's what I was doing. It was just something that it came natural and that I was drawn to. As I continue on my path, I started doing the meditations with William, and I was brought to a book. It's called the Pleiadian Guidebook, and this book was it was in between a moment where I don't know how I even got into this Akashic Records group. I don't remember, but I found this lady. Her name is Amy Robinson, and she does Akashic Records. And I joined her course. And between me joining the course and the starting of the course, I started reading that book that had been recommended to me a year prior. And I was only able to read the first chapter of the book. And it started to connect everything for me. It was something that was calling me. I have a love for pyramids. I have an immense love for pyramids, triangles, anything that is 3 points. It's like, that's my jam. The number 3, if things come in 3, that is my jam. I want 3 children because I want to have a pyramid scheme tattoo on my hand, and it feels incomplete if I don't have that 3rd, which is really funny. But if you think about it, the base of a pyramid has 4 corners and it has a top. My family, it would be a family of 5.
That's awesome. I love that.
So those are the things that I start looking at it and I'm like, oh my God. But in the book, it started to talk about how the shamans were giving information from the Pleiadians regarding all of the knowledge that we hold, right? This knowledge was put and given to them to take care of and to be placed within the pyramids that are throughout the world. And that the core of the Akashic Records are held within these pyramids. When I read that, I was like, no wonder this is where I've been going. But it just felt very natural for me, that progression, and to look into this. When I started in in the course, the first thing that they teach you or that they show you, it's about your heart space. That is something that we all, there are many ways that people interpret the heart space. But the way that I interpret the heart space to go into the records is that, and that is a very important place before you can actually ever enter the records. And a lot of people have issues when they are actually trying to enter their own records because they think it's going to be the meditation. They're going to go into this zone. They're going to say the prayer, and voila, it's going to open. But one of the most important things is that you have to really get to know your heart space. You have to get to know where your door is, because the Akash or your records are within you. They're not outside of you, and they're not in your mind.
Before we get too deep, I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
What are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic Records are the story of every single life and every single thing that you have done in existence since you were created.
Everything.
Everything. So if you wore the glasses today, and wearing those glasses was an important point of the day so that you could see something that is in the records, that you can pinpoint that point in your life, that was something that was drastic and it was a change. If you stumbled and you fell walking and you were in Jesus' time, and that was what got Jesus into your life because he helped you up, that is in your records. All of these things that have come to be or have passed are in your records. Your future, it's like we all talk about the quantum energy of the present, past, future. That is what holds the records. But those are lines, those are the actual information of what has happened. Those are the stories. The stories of the earth. The earth has its Akash. We have our own Akashic records. Then we all have a what is it called? The consciousness of the all record. Then there is the universe. Then there is the creator. That all are a part. And the deeper you go into it, the more information you can receive.
So why would you want to go into the Akashic Records? Like, what's the purpose of this?
Well, it's a tool, just like meditation is a tool, just like channeling is a tool, crystals are a tool, candles are a tool, Reiki is a tool. This is a tool that you can utilize for your self-development, and for your self-love. What I found that this is a huge tool for acceptance, empowering, and feeling more centered and true to yourself in this moment. So and the reason that I say this, I use the records on a daily basis. That's a practice that I have. I use them for myself. And I have a practice that I usually practice 3 times a week. I said 3 days to practice. But the reason is that I deepened that. And by practicing, what I've learned is that every single tool that you have, it's leading you to self-love. To self-love. Because when you implement this, you are trying to get to know yourself, to understand everything you are and accept it. It's not so much about like getting to know who you were in the past, but it is who you are now. And I find it very easy to me. I don't get so focused on my past lives. We've all been everything. And some people are not prepared to receive the fullness of the information of who they have been, because it can get very dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and some of those things, the darkness is what leads to these beautiful changes in our life. But when we are present and we are moving through life and you meditate on a regular and you go into the records and you ask, what lesson am I learning today? What lesson am I unfolding from my past? How can I improve my health? Is me not eating meat an appropriate path? And how can I get there? Should I add more greens? What kind of vegetables should I be inviting into my meals? All of these things, and they seem silly, but it is really getting to know how your body works.
So how is this different than, let's say, just going into a deep silent meditation and asking that question?
Because there is no difference. They all work together, right? Like I can go into meditation and ask these questions, but a lot of the times when we're channeling from the whole entire universe. So we're channeling from the pieces that we're getting from everything. And a lot of the times when we ask questions and we're channeling, they give us hints of things that are in the future. They give us things of where the goal is coming. But when we enter within our records and we have questions, and let's say you're starting a business, and is this the path that I should take? They might say, this is the path. They might show you. And then the next question might be, what should be my next step? And they will give you the answer of something that you can implement in your life. If you're creating something, you can create it within the records because you are open to all of the knowledge that you have had and all of your ancestors and teachers, and you're not putting yourself as like, oh, I'm going to call in Archangel Michael to provide me information. He may not be the right guide or the right being to assist you in this moment and with the task that you have at hand. He might have information, but maybe it is your ancestor. Maybe it is a past aspect of you or from a past life that actually has the information of what you can implement in this life. Yes, Doc.
I think this is absolutely amazing. I just want to show you one little vignette, which I think it gives you an example of this. I was trying to figure out why is it I'm diabetic, and why other people in my family are not diabetic when they actually have even more unhealthy lifestyles, which I don't know whether it's possible. But the thing is that when I went back into the Akashic Records through somebody else, I discovered that for many generations I'd been a slave and always had not enough food. So part of the reaction that I had in this life includes something not a million miles away from binge eating for things like biscuits, for example, and other things. And that was the underlying root of this behavior, apparently. And once it was cleared, it made it a lot easier not to actually, I could actually discern and go away from those things. Now, I don't know whether this is a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it was quite a remarkable insight, which I never would have had.
It's the acceptance.
Yeah.
You were able to accept, oh, I didn't have enough food, and now my body's going through this.
Yeah.
Now I have to acknowledge that part, integrate it, and allow my body and my soul to know that in this life, it is okay. And maybe you'll still have diabetes, maybe it'll lower, but maybe in the next life, not maybe, now that you've acknowledged this and you're working towards being in a comfortable place, you know what is going to happen in the next life because you learned the lesson, you've unraveled it. It comes from having that mentality and fear of poverty, of not having enough. And it's a fear.
Yeah.
that you have to release.
That's right.
For me, for example, in one meditation, I encountered with William that I was an Asian girl and I was blind, but I was physically and sexually abused, and I was enslaved, and I was passed on from person to person, and I had no voice, and all of my owners and people um, were men. And this wasn't during a transition that I was going through of me not working anymore, of me not having my own money, of me being under my husband's being, and then I was staying quiet and suppressing my voice. But she was coming forward to assist me so that I could find my voice. She wasn't here to remind me that I was violated and that all of these things, those are things that happen. But she was here so that I could find my voice in this lifetime and give her peace and clear that from her and give her a voice and give her that empowerment of standing in herself, which is myself. We cannot just look at past lives and doing all of these bad things, or all these bad things happen to us as being bad. They are stepping stones to something better, to creating something that is more grounded and more beautiful, that flowers will grow out of. So a lot of people try to go back, and it's just like, who was I in my past life? Or more of like bringing balance to what you're experiencing now will give you more clarity. Sometimes we're not ready to dive into the darkest natures of humanity that we all have and that we have all experienced through existence.
Marjorie, well, hold on one second. I found it very interesting. Marnie was saying it's fascinating that the Akashic Records are within us. And I remember finding that out because I always thought they were in a different place. I had to, in a different outside of me, go to in meditation, like literally kind of a building that I was walking into.
Yeah.
And that was really a very eye-opening when I heard it the first time, that the records were actually inside me.
Yes. So I've done readings for 3 of you on screen. And you guys are more aware that when we go through, this is a part of my practice. I always do a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier to guide someone to a space that they don't know through a guided meditation than just telling them, drop into your heart space.
Yeah.
Because now they're looking for something that they do not understand and that they don't know, that they hold within them. So finding that space, it just gives you such a peace, and to know that that is a door, and that is like a part of your soul that is being held there so that you can open this beautiful door.
Mm.
Go ahead.
This is a fabulous discussion because this is exactly what I've heard from somebody else. And the one thing I'd just like to mention, she mentioned that the heart space is like a portal that takes you to where the records are, wherever that is.
Mm.
And so this is all connecting now. It's really, really remarkable. Thank you so much, Marjorie. Please carry on.
Yes, so this is a portal that connects to where your Akashic records are. And a lot of people get stuck into this vision of the records are books and they're a library, and you have to go through this guide or person or angel that is in this library. And I'm going to say, not always. The records are whatever you want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
They will present themselves as anything, your house, water. For example, I will have today, my experience was I went into my heart space and I walked in and I became water. And when I enter or when I was opening my records, what the way that my records were opening is that the door into my records was water that was coming from me, and I was going into the water. And when I went into the water, I was the ocean. That was the experience. And what was the lesson there for me is I've learned with time that I don't really like to ask questions. I allow my records to speak to me and to teach me. They are my teachers. That is why it's called masters, teachers, and loved ones. Your loved ones are your ancestors and all that have passed. Your masters are Jesus, all the goddesses, all the high beings, archangels, right? That are here to masters, teachers, and loved ones. The masters could be things that you have already mastered. So yourself coming to yourself as a master, as a teacher, to teach you something. So it's allowing them. When we have questions of stuff that we don't know that is being presented, how can we know what questions to ask?
But isn't it, I found that I've come across some people and their ancestors were giving them really low vibrational information, like telling them to do bad things, sacrifices and things along those lines, like their ancient ancestors. So isn't it something that we sometimes need to be careful about? Our ancestors, that receiving the information from them, or at least direction, might not always be in our greatest good.
Well, when you go into your Akashic Records, the person that is the guardian of the records is Archangel Metatron. Okay? And within the records, one of the things that I learned is they will speak to you in love and kindness. Love and kindness. They do not speak to you. I'm going to have to get a charger. They do not speak to you in low vibrations, or they don't tell you what to do. They don't tell you things. They suggest, because you have free will and you have to be in allowance of all of these things to happen. They will not judge you. They will not reprimand you or penalize you for any of these things. So when you're in your records, you're in your soul, your highest of highest. You're coming in to understand who you are in a deep core, right? So if they start talking to you and telling you to do bad things, then I would really rethink, am I really talking or am I really in my records? Because this is not the information. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I guess I was speaking about people just in general, maybe not going into the records, but it sounds like whether you're going into any information, like you said, this is a tool. So whether it's the Akashic Records or going into your own meditation to get questions, you set your boundaries and intentions. But as you go into the Akashic Records, you're saying
you're also setting
intentions
already. Yeah. Well, in the prayer that I use, we set intentions before we enter into the records. So as I prepare and I enter the records for someone, it is also very important what kind of prayer you're using or way to enter your records that you're using to go into the records, because not all of them resonate with all of us.
So are setting intentions important?
Yes. 100%. And that is one of the things, that there is a prayer before you go into the records, and it should be in that prayer.
So is maybe I'm just kind of getting hung up with the label that it's a prayer, but for those that don't resonate with the word prayer, it's prayer or intention. It's whatever you want to call it. It really is
Yes,
just setting those boundaries.
100%.
Marjorie, Marnie has a question. It's
Can you
curious.
guys give me 1 second? My
Sure.
phone
Yeah, you
is.
grab your charger.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you guys ever gone into the records by yourself? Jenny,
I
everybody?
have. Yeah, I experienced it during a singing bowl session when I was journeying and connected to my higher self, and ended up being in front of the Galactic Council and having them guide me into going into my Akashic records to pick out records that were ready to be cleared karmically. And it was really quite an interesting experience of what happened. And actually, I did have the vision of a library and pulling out a book, and then I was ripping the pages out of the book on that record that needed to be cleared and throwing them on the floor. And they were then telling me that karmic debt had been cleared out of my. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That is cool. How about you, Rachel? Have you gone into your own records?
Not by myself. I did a session with Marjorie, so she guided me in that. But I have, well, I've had a past life regression, so I've definitely, experienced some lifetimes that I've had. But I also have received messages from like my ancestors around certain fears that I was trying to clear through meditation. So, not really intentionally. No, I haven't.
Do you know that we all have access to the records? Like unknowingly, we are pulling information. And that is what I was saying, that unconsciously we are pulling information from the records. So we get bits and pieces from the records that we are extracting. But when we do it consciously, it's like it opens a whole new world.
Well, that kind of speaks to Marnie's question about it's curious how when it comes to releasing, you might see faces and places that you're releasing. Are these people and places from the Akashic records?
Well, everything is from the Akash. The Akash is just the field of information. It holds the information of the past. It holds, and it's always creating, and it's always moving. So it's not that it's just the past, it's also all the future possibilities that could happen because it's creating. We are not stuck human beings. And right now, because we are so much more aware, we are not repeating the same things. We are clearing things and moving forward, clearing things and moving. We are dropping things and moving to new things. So everything that you are tapping in is, you're clearing it from the records. Yes, yes,
So
Dom.
there's been a worry or comments I've heard before, at least even my own self thought about this, is that by going into the Akashic records and getting the answers, you don't necessarily learn your lesson. So if you don't learn your lesson in a proper way, that you might have to come back and relive that lesson. Can you comment on that?
I will tell you this. If you were a bad tennis player, right? Because you didn't have access to a good teacher and the right training to actually become a good tennis player, because you don't have access to this. But if you now have access and you know how to, you learn, you become better, and you continue to do better, and now you're teaching other people and you're giving back, is that a bad thing? Do you think you learned differently, or are you not learning the lesson? Because the records are kind of like, let me put it this way. It's a tool to address the problem before it becomes a bigger problem so that you don't have to keep repeating it. It's not about not learning the lesson. It is about acknowledging that you're learning something and getting the tools that you have from your past. Because you can reach now to your past and say, okay, how can I now, in this lifetime, clear this and make it better for the next time that I come back?
So how would that be different from setting your intention and then being open to the answers that we receive? And I kind of know the answer, but I'm just kind of volleying the ball up for a serve here.
There is no difference. Again, the difference is the clarity that you're going into your own records and you have no guess. And once you're in your records, there's all the information is there if you're open to accept it and take it. If you decide that you don't want to take it, then it's up to the person. But you will continuously be looking for, how do I better myself, right, in this situation? But you were already given the answer within the records. And it's a clear one, because they might not give you the whole thing. Maybe you're saying, I have been stuck at work and I don't know what to do next. And they might advise you, the next step that you should take is start looking for a different job. They're not going to tell you to leave your job. They're going to tell you the next step. They're not going to solve the problem, but they're going to talk to you about the things that you can start implementing. And the more you go into the records and the more you utilize these tools, the more information. And then you go and look for jobs and you start applying. And then you might find that there's so many other jobs out there that you might like. And you start picking. And then you might be like, you go back into the records. I have found that I like these 3 jobs. Which one would be best suited for me at this moment? And they might tell you, we would suggest that you go with this one because of this. But you could also go with this one because of this. And you could also go with this one because of this. Because it is your choice. But they are telling you why would be the reasons to go with each job. And then you have to choose and make your decision about the path. And they always tell you they all lead to the same thing, but it's a tool that you can constantly use. For example, if you go to a Reiki session, right? And they release energy, but you have still energy that needs to be moved and you do not go continuously, you're only going to get part of the healing, not the whole entire healing. You get part of it, not all of it. And that's how it works with everything. You go and you grab a crystal and you use a crystal for 2 days and you think, oh my God, I feel so much better. And then you tuck it away. You don't know the crystal is done. How do you know?
So it almost sounds like, as you're saying, this is a tool, and the more we use a tool, the better we get at it. And
Yes.
almost as if we're using angel cards, where we can take the angel card, we can look at the picture, and if we just kind of went into our own connection and thought process, the picture helps us develop a stronger message. But even still, now we have the book that we can go in there and read the message directly as well. So it seems like this is very specific and much more detailed than just getting general information.
Yes.
I love that.
Marjorie, one thing that popped in my head when you were talking was that you can see this in 2 ways. The Akashic Records are part of the backdrop upon which our soul contracts are written for this particular life. And the question I have for you is that obviously they're a tool, but it's almost a tool to get in behind the veil of forgetfulness, to see what is it that we have to pick up and run with in this particular life and help shape that. I have another question, is that how do variable timelines fit into this record as it's been written?
Okay.
Universes.
So the way that they are showing me and putting it is that when we make the timelines in the future, is every step leads to a different road.
Mm.
And imagine you're in a highway and you're driving in this highway and you forgot at home your toothbrush. So you have to turn, and now you have to turn on a different exit of where you were going. And now this creates a different timeline because you went through a different path than the one that you were actually going through. So every decision that we make on our way to where we believe we are going in our mind impacts the timeline. How we get to the goal, the end of this. And everything is different. So I'm going to put it this way. I go into the records and they don't really discuss with me. And I'm going to put my life out there, children. And I am looking for a child. But they tell me that I need to trust that it's coming. Right? So I have to trust that it's coming. In the records, they don't talk about time.
Mm.
Because time can be always changed depending on the decisions that we make.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for me to get to a child, every decision I make will either get me closer or further away from it. But those are the decisions that I make.
Mm-hmm.
But the question I have is, if there are multiple versions of us.
Yeah, well, there's
how does that fit in?
Because they're all working on different things.
Mm.
They're not different versions, they're aspects. So when you go into your soul, you have access to the entirety of your soul.
Right.
Not just the speck of the person that you are, it's the entirety.
Got it.
So the lessons that you are learning in this moment, in this body, affect every single life that you are and you are not. And that is why our past lives come in and assist us, right? In this lifetime, so that we can solve for the greater good of the soul. Because it becomes the lesson that you learn, it takes you to a different lesson and not a repeat. And that is why a lot of people say that the records are always on repeat, that we're always learning the same lessons. It's not that we're always learning, it's that we haven't learned our lesson.
Okay.
So they're always repeating in different ways and forms, but they're coming back. But because of our consciousness and our awareness that these are now lessons, we have access now, or we've had access for a while now, of bringing in the knowledge, like how bringing in your past life. And it's not only about who I was and why am I learning? It's like, okay, how do we move forward from this? It's not concentrating so much on like, why do I have this? Why am I learning this? It's like, this is the lesson. Mm-hmm. What is the lesson teaching you? Is it a self-love lesson? It is moving away from fear. Is it giving away your power? Is it being kinder to yourself? These are the lessons that we're always learning. Because we are always either in fear, not loving ourselves, giving our power away. Those are the three big that I have seen so far that are always repeating.
Marjorie, we got some questions from the comments. We have Luz asking, do we ever dream of learning from the Akashic Records?
Yes, those are your masters and teachers and loved ones. And that is you unconsciously bringing in information and learning it from your past lives. So you're bringing in someone from your past. It's like me knowing candles and bringing in a master who her name was Vela into life and becoming my teacher. I saw her come in, but it was in dream. So that is another way that we access, because we are out of our body and we are aware of everything and open to all the knowledge that there is unconsciously, because we're sleeping.
Yeah. Marnie would said, so like with our guides, would Akashic reveal what we need and not what we want? Sorry if this was answered already.
Well, yes, because your guides are the masters, teachers, and loved ones within the records.
Okay.
They are a part of that group, but you are accessing them as the question that you have is fitted for. So you might be accessing, I think I'm going to bring up Rachel, if that's okay. She was receiving information from Buddha. I didn't know, but she knew it was the Buddha energy that was bringing in to be quiet and stillness. He is in her record. That is one of the teachers and masters and loved ones that wants to assist her with the task that she needs to learn right now, to implement in her life so that she can be present in her being and in her life. Because the records are like, we're solving these lessons not just to move them and so that we can be higher frequency and so that we can be better people in the next life. We are solving them so that we can be present and in awe and wonder and in happiness and joy in this life, because we won't feel stuck. You will be more in love with your life, with yourself, and more present and felt more nourished because you are allowing things.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Grace is asking, are our Akashic records existing within our DNA and in the library within the universe? Which dimensions Akashic records libraries are in? And we kind of touched upon this, but she might not have been here yet when we talked about this earlier.
So it's the Akashic records are not just the library. So when you are trying to enter your Akashic, I would ask that you are open-minded to the way that the records present themselves to you, because they are unique to you. They are yours. So honoring them is a big part of it. Honoring your teachers, your masters, and loved ones within the records, because they are there to assist you and to provide you and hold space for you in that moment. So this library, there's a library or the records or the unknown that holds the grid of the Akash, because some people call it a grid, the grid of the Akash. There is one for yourself, one for the collective that is here on Earth, us all as a collective of humans and the planet. Then there is the universe. Then there is the entirety of the galaxy, and it goes on and on and on. But they're not different from one another. They're all within it, but you can only access the one that you are able to access. That you focus yourself. The more open and the more practice you have with the records, And the more you're able to just be like, okay, I allow and I receive, the more information you receive from everything, from the air, from the water, because at some point in life, we were water. And that is why I'm learning about water today. So it is all comes. It's allowing for the lessons to come in. That I flow into you as you flow into me. Because the water that is in me was once in you. So the knowledge that you hold, I hold as well. And the pain that you hold, I have known as well. Because we have all shared the same water.
This is a great question that kind of feeds into what you just said, is how hard is it for us to interpret the record if we self-accept the records? Would it be better to work with an experienced person like you to access them?
No. I have seen people that have no channeling, they have no experience in intuition or knowing. You just, the way that they teach it is being able to sit with yourself at first. And once you were able to access your records and you think you are in them, you can open your eyes. This is not a practice that you need to close your eyes and stay still and just be in receiving. You can open your eyes and you can start to write what you feel. You can ask questions and listen to the voice inside you answer. And see how these things feel to you. And this is how you start to get to know your records.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but can I ask, like, how would you, hi, Kay, how do you, like, what would be the process if we wanted to access our own records from, let's say, start to finish? Like, what would be the process that we could do on ourselves to play with?
I can guide you right now into your heart space, but because this is my practice, and there's people that actually, there's courses that you take for this. I don't feel right to my teacher to giving out what she teaches. If that makes any sense. But I can 100% sit here and we can go through a bit of a guided meditation. And if anybody feels open to it, just to step into our heart space. I will recommend that after you've been in your heart space, that you start to get to know your heart space before you open your records. There are intention prayers out there that are good. But once you get to know your heart space, it gives you more of a clarity to know where you are, to feel where your door may be, to get comfortable, because the land of your heart space, it's big, vast, and it changes as you get to know yourself. And I think that has been one of the most important things for me, is getting to know my heart space and opening that space. And where am I accessing it from? Am I going from my heart or am I going from my solar plex? The two doors that first open to your heart space are either your heart or your solar plex, because your heart space is in between. It's right here at the tip of your rib cage, right there. So it's right at the point where your rib cage is. So it's between the two. You want to be in a space when you access your heart space that you are calm and you're not just dropping in, like going into your heart space. Why? Because you want to open your chakras, all of them, and allowing the energy to flow within your body. right? Why? You want to invite this information into your being. And your Akashic Records is also connected to your chakras, because your chakras are creating energetically your life, right? So you're healing a space in your body that is connected to one of these points of energy.
Mhm.
By you being present with this energy, you allow it to flow.
So it sounds like this is, getting into the Akashic records and doing this work in general. It's a little bit more. It's not a beginner process. You need a little bit of foundational work first before you actually start doing this.
It's not an easy process if you think you're just going to go onto YouTube and open your records through a video, because the reality is that people do not give you all the information
Mhm.
to accessing the records. They will give you the prayer, they will give you some music, but they will not tell you all of this.
What's the danger of doing this then? Like jumping the gun and going in and following the YouTubes and not necessarily having proper training.
That you won't access your record.
Right.
You will access a part of it, but you will be confused and you will not know where to start or where to go.
So it's
Things
not that you can
not-
damage. Sorry, Jenny.
That's okay. Things might not be revealed to you.
Yeah, or you might see a part of it, but you may not see the whole part that you need to know.
Mhm.
You might fragments of the information you might access, but it won't be everything. Um, so I have to say this. I don't believe that there is anything bad about it.
Right.
There is just not enough information for you to feel comfortable and say, I did it. And when you try and you can't access it, you become of like, I don't trust myself enough. Maybe it's because I haven't done enough work on myself. Maybe I just can't do it. And it's not that. It's just that people don't have all the information
Right.
to be able to access it. They don't have the clarity and understanding that you have to be grounded in your body and present.
So
It is very important.
I have a question about, like, tell us the experience of what it is when you do access it. I mean, I've had a little bit of that experience with you, but if you're doing it alone and you feel like you've connected with the Akashic records and you're getting you're asking a question about something and then you start just getting downloads. Is it similar to like when we're channeling, we're just feeling it in our bodies, we're feeling it, we're maybe seeing things are flashing, and we're maybe getting
Yes,
coming
it's
in?
literally that. Some
Okay.
people, for the people that are visual, they get pictures.
Mhm.
For people that are energetic, they start to feel, and you have to discern the energies that you are feeling. I'm feeling warm. What does warm mean to you? All of these energies, like how do you feel in your body? Like, all the energies, you can feel them. You can get knowing. 90% of the time, for me, I am talking to myself. I ask a question, then I stop, and then I start answering myself in regards to the answer. But I know that the answer is not coming from me because it sounds crazy to
Yeah,
me.
that's what happened to me when I was channeling something about my the ancestors stuff started coming in. I was asking about where this fear came from. It was like around lack of money, and then and it was like that. I would ask a question. I was writing it down at the time. I'd write the question, and then I'd just write the answer. And then it was like this whole story coming out about how, I came. They were poor, and they worked so hard, and they were hard workers, but they didn't get enough. It's like obviously they weren't being paid for the work that they did, the amount that they did. So there was just this feeling of lack, like not worthy, not deserving.
That is the knowing. That is the one we call knowing, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
sense of knowing. We always say like it's like it feels like it's crazy, but it's the way that they can fluidly give you information.
Yeah, it's like, this is not coming from me. Like, I'm not thinking about this. I would have never even had that perspective. And you're almost like having epiphanies while you're like, wow, this is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
So
I've always had like this huge concern that like I was weird or I don't know, because I can channel while I'm active
Mhm.
and there's 1,000 things happening around me, but I can stay in the channel. Most of you have seen it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And to me, that's like, how come this is happening and I don't understand it? I didn't understand it and I was worried, I was concerned, I felt like an outsider.
Mm.
I went into the records and I said, how come I can do this? How come is it that I can channel while, and they explained to me that when there is chaos, I focus. When my body's moving, I'm able to zone everything out and just focus on what I am and what is in my mind. Because the rest of me is busy.
Yeah. That makes
And
a lot
though
of
I am channeling, I'm like, I can still hear things and I'm very like, I work best under like stress, I guess.
sense.
And they said that it would be a good way for me to do meditation. It was like go into the records and walk
Mm.
and record yourself as you are doing it.
That's so funny. That is exactly how I started channeling. I when I first started channeling, I realized I had to walk. I could speak it out, like it would just come out fluidly, but I had to be walking, like almost pacing, just walking in circles and speaking out loud. And then I was doing what you were doing, just recording it or writing it. So it's kind of like how they've explained it to me is your brain is your left side of your brain, your analytical side, the side that like is always like questioning or interrupting sometimes, is busy with the walking or busy with the writing. And so it's distracted in a way. So you can really get into that like trance like zone where you know what I mean? Like where you're
Yeah.
into the
I
more
have
like
no idea in regards to that, but
yeah, that's how it's been explained to
all
me
I
by
received
my
it was like that it was okay for me to be able
mm-hmm.
to trust it. I also went in and I was concerned about my weight and I wanted to know if I should change my diet. Like I went in and I asked, I was like everybody's going vegetarian and all of these things. Like, should I change my diet? And they told me there's so much change already happening in my life that I don't need to add more to my plate of like overextending. They explained to me that walking or doing exercise and committing to at least 3 days would be very helpful to me for my health and so on. And to implement the changes that come naturally into my diet. So just to add or take away anything as it feels natural. If it's not natural, not to stress it because there's so much change already. And that gave me such a peace and a calmness in my path because I didn't feel like I needed to add any more stress. And this is how I use it. When I have a question about something that I have to move forward and it's worked well for me, I've implemented more water, more vitamins, certain things, but they come naturally. And I can actually say that I don't feel like I'm doing less channeling because I'm not a vegetarian, but I am I am honoring my path because it belongs to me.
Yeah, Marjorie, I was a vegetarian for almost 2 years, and I had to go back to eating meat. It just wasn't grounding enough for me, and I couldn't keep up with the kids and all of the meals to cook, and it was stressing me out too. And it has not affected my channeling in any way. My channeling continues to grow and expand the more I do it, and that's what I notice is really makes the biggest difference. It's just the more you practice and the more you do it, then you will grow. You'll start getting like new information coming in, and you're integrating it. And so, I mean, one day
Everyone is on a different path. Like,
yeah,
I mean, like, look at shamans.
yeah,
I mean, and then you look at different people, Eritreans, they live a great life. And then everyone has a different path. And it's really being able to respect your journey that you're going on and not judging it and not judging others. And that goes back into loving yourself, loving what you are doing and your path. And that is what I've learned, that instead of stressing myself about what is going on and the changes that are happening, or that people are, becoming all of this and all of that, but I'm not, and I feel left out, and I'm like the outcast or whatever, it's all in your mind. And being able to access the records have allowed me to just go in and talk to them and feel comfortable, because I don't have to guess if I'm receiving information correctly or not. I know that the answers are coming from within me, that they're from me to me. Yes.
If you're able to connect with your higher self and ask your higher self questions, would your higher self not also refer back to the Akashic Records anyway?
Yes. So this is a part of the intention prayer part. When I go into my records, before I got to know all my aspects, and I invited my higher self, because she is also an aspect of me, which she's already in there, but I invite her into my heart space, and we have powwows, girl talks, and acknowledging of getting to know each one of your bodies, your mental body inside your heart space, your physical, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, your higher self, your inner child, and you can invite them in, and you can have a conversation within your heart space with each one of them and ask them, how are you doing today?
Right.
What can I do to make you feel better? And that in itself, it's very healing. And that in itself is also just a work on healing past traumas of everything. If your child self says, like, I want to be able to be more playful, you're not having fun, so I'm not having fun. So you have to implement. You don't have to, but they're letting you know that you're missing something to make that part of you spark up. If your mental self starts telling you, I feel stressed out, I feel like everything is on me, nobody respects me, none of you acknowledge how I feel, and you're like, okay, so I have to go back to my mind and say thank you, acknowledge what is happening, and let it relax, right? I can invite my ego self and say, acknowledge my ego and see how she or he's feeling, and work with them and allow them to all work together within you, because they're all one within inside of you. But each aspect is a part of you who needs to be acknowledged. They're all you, but we separate them into parts. And because our mind separates and our human existence separates and likes to put things in boxes, we have to address that box. When we address it and we start communicating to all of them, they start to merge in.
Right.
And you can bring them all in as one. And you can embody everything that you are, your mental, physical, everything. Because now they're all working together. And acknowledging them and within your heart space will allow you to, when you are walking into your Akashic records, to bring them in, but not as them giving you the information. You want to bring them in as spectators, as students that are just there, but have no, they can't speak. So you acknowledge them and you invite them in with you, but only as spectators.
Right.
Because that way you are not confused that your ego is telling you all this information.
Wow. Yeah.
And then your ego starts telling you, and you can feel what the ego feels like when they're talking to you. Because they're coming more from like, oh, I think and I know, and we should do this. And when you start hearing do this, do that, you know it's your ego.
Demanding, very demanding.
Yeah.
Bossy.
Yes. I know this. No, we don't know. The masters, teachers, and loved ones talk to you in kindness,
Yes.
and they suggest. That is the big thing. They suggest. They don't tell you what to do. And they always come in kindness. Even when things are not kind, they come in kindness.
Marjorie, I have a question.
Yes.
When you say the intention prayer, are there specific things that you ask for when accessing the cache?
In the prayer?
Yes.
Well, I have a specific prayer that was given to me. And that's the one that I utilize. But there are many out there that anytime that you are going to access, what I would suggest is seeing if this prayer resonates with you. And the other part is if it acknowledges the aspects of your bodies. And if it doesn't have that, you can implement it and invite them in as spectators. They're going in with you, but they're not giving you the information.
So what is some of the aspects of the intention or prayer that you set? What are some of the components of it that you'd want to?
I really can't share because I already shared a part. That's one of the parts, the ego, inviting your aspects. That is one of the parts of the prayer that the teacher that gave us. Acknowledgement of the masters, teachers, and loved ones. Having gratitude in there. What else? Acknowledgement of the guardian, right? But the guardian of the records, if you can call him by name, his name is Metatron. So it's inviting Metatron's perspective.
And you were saying about before you actually enter into the Akashic Records, you need to prepare the heart space. So how would you prepare your heart space? I know it's not a short thing, but it's a long thing.
Yes.
How?
So preparing, it's not so much preparing your heart space. You want to drop into your heart space, but you also want to be aware where you are in your heart space. What is coming up in that present moment in your heart space? Is there something that you need to deal with within your heart space before you enter the records? because this is like almost like the meditation or calming down before you go into the records, and you want to connect. So you want to see where you are and what you're being presented with. Are you calm? Are you being present with yourself? Do you feel at peace? What are you seeing? So I was going to show, we were going to go through a slight meditation and drop into our heart space. So if everybody's ready.
So this is how you're dropping into a heart space.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This is one of the many ways. So I'm going to say that you can enter again from your heart or from your solar plex. And each solar plex is basically a land. You can get to know what your heart space looks like, your heart chakra, your solar plex, what energy is there so that you can move up. So either you're moving down energy. When you're entering from your heart, you're moving down energy into your heart space. When you're moving up you're going up from your solar plex, you're moving energy from your ground. So you're moving from your root chakra, from your sacral, and they're coming up into your heart space, which I love to do that because the information is grounded, because you are grounded, because it's easier to absorb everything within your being. And when you're opening that, you're also pulling that energy up, which allows you to continuously, when you're doing that, it allows your third eye to open more. It allows your throat chakra to expand because you're moving all of the energies upwards and expanding. Right? So that when you open up, you're able to receive more. If you acknowledge your upper chakras and you're not really present, you're not grounded. And a lot of the stuff that comes in and the most trauma that we have that affects all of the upper ones are also in our third chakras, in our lower chakras, that are all emotional based, that are all safety based, and those are the ones that we need to rebalance with the upper ones, right? Okay. So I would like everyone to take a deep breath, close your eyes. To feel present with yourself in this moment. I would like everyone to feel their feet underneath them. If you have shoes, feel how your feet feel in your shoe, how your shoes feel on the ground, how the ground is holding your feet, holding your body. Take a deep breath all the way down to your feet. I want you to see, feel, or imagine there is this beautiful white, golden ball of light that is as big as your feet. That is right below your feet. I want you to feel it, sense it, or imagine it. It's glowing and so bright. I want you to feel, sense your feet gently merging and melting into this beautiful ball of light. Allow this ball of light to start to rise up gently through your feet, up your ankles. There is no need to rush. Just allow it to expand, nourish, encompass your body, up your knees, your thighs, your hips and buttocks, opening and expanding your root chakra, moving up to your sacral. I want you guys to just hold it there. There's some tightness and somebody's holding the energy. There is nothing to fear. There's only love, and this beautiful light is you. Allow it to move, to open, to embody you, to open your solar plex, your sacral there. Okay, moving to your solar. Deep breath, release. Feel longer and expanded and more open and empowered of your life and the joy that you bring into this world, the shine that you are. Moving up to the heart. I want everybody else again to focus and breathe. To pull in the energy, to be present with yourself. There we go. Moving up to your throat chakra. Expanding, allowing it to flow, to turn, to sing, to be fun, to have laughter. For those of you that are here and that are stuck in the heart, I want you to picture this beautiful green field where you are running free and you have a beautiful toy bear that you are hugging so tight. That toy bear is you. Love yourself. There we go. Moving up. Everybody deep breath. Moving up to the third eye. Opening, expanding. Moving to the crown. All the way up. And I want everyone to see, feel, or imagine this beautiful lotus that is breaking open as if the sun was reaching towards it. And it feels so full and alive. The sun is up and you are full. Do not be afraid. Do not fall into fear and allow your lotus to open up. There we go. As you are open and aware, source energy is going to come in from this beautiful lotus and clear our energy as the beautiful sun and burst into our body, connecting us to Him as above, fully renewing all of our energy within our body. And I want you to see, feel, or imagine that there is a beautiful yellow, orange, and red door in front of you. This door belongs to you and only you, and you're the only one that can open it. There is no rushing, there is time. This is your door, you have the key. As you open, look beneath your feet and feel the dirt that you're stepping on. You are on a field open that is full of just beautiful soil, beautiful, rich, nurturing soil. And you can feel it in your feet, between your toes as you take steps. And you can feel how grounding and how tall you feel, how joyful. And you look up and there is the sun, and you smile. You feel freedom. You don't feel constricted to anything. And as you keep walking, there is this beautiful tree on a patch of grass. This beautiful, beautiful full tree that is calling to you. This tree belongs to you and only you. So do not try to imagine the one I have. See your tree. Be with your tree in your presence. Walk towards your tree. And as you get closer, you're going to find either a staircase or a door, whichever one you see and feel more comfortable, use it. If you are going up the stairs, at the end of the stairs, there is this beautiful, white, glittery, clear door that belongs to you and only you. Feel free to open it when you're ready. If you're going through the tree, this door is also just yours. This is a push door. This is a key door. This is an elevator. It does not matter. This is yours. So feel free to see it for what it is in you. Open the door. And when you come across, you are going to be in your heart space. I want you to see, feel, or imagine how this space feels to you. Is it open? Is it a house? Is it your favorite park with a favorite bench? Is it your childhood neighborhood where you played? Is it a fire? Is it an open field or a beach? Breathe into it, relax, and feel the wholeness of everything that you are, the acceptance of you within you. And when you guys are ready, please come back. You may wiggle your hands, move your head, take a deep breath, stretch out. How's everyone doing?
Oh, that was nice. I had to lock my door before I came back. Mine was in a tree. The door was in a tree, which was really interesting. And there's just so much love there. It's quite nice. That was a great experience. Thanks, Marjorie.
You're welcome. And you can stay there as long as you guys want. And I am sorry I pulled you guys out. We should have done this at the end, and then I've been like, bye.
I've been finding just with this energy that's happening lately, the last 2 weeks, my meditations, I've been running at least an hour and 15, hour and a half long minimum every time. And multiple times a day, like just going deep, deep, deep. And this is just continues on with that. So it's so lovely to be there.
I didn't want to come back.
Yeah, I didn't want to come back.
That Doc was going to say something. He keeps raising his hand.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lovely, lovely meditation. Thank you. I felt such a lot of peace in there. It was really very nice. It was fabulous. Thank you.
So I'm going to be, meditations for me, they're usually for whoever is there. So I don't know who's watching, that it all encompasses the whole group. So it's either when we're entering, we enter through our solar plex. And when we normally think about the solar plex, we think about what color? Yellow, or is it orange?
Yellow.
It's yellow.
Okay, so it's yellow, and we start seeing things that are yellow, and we think it's everything yellow and brightness. But many of us have already learned that each chakra is full of all the colors. So we have to pay attention to the colors that are being brought up. The color that was being brought up was the color of the dirt, brown, which means grounding. That means a lot of the people that are on here are not very well grounded. And that is why we had to ground the energy as we were walking in. And I feel the dirt on our feet to help us ground the energy as we are going to enter into our heart space. A lot of these things, like if you enter through your heart, you might find different colors. Why are you finding these colors? They might need a rebalancing. So it's paying attention to those subtle things that are being brought up. It's not just the feeling of feeling calm and relaxed. It's about opening and seeing the imbalances. As we were going in, I had to pause a couple of times. A lot of people are having issues in their heart with self-love. So some people were staying behind because they didn't believe in themselves, and they didn't believe that they were in their heart or that they could move forward. Some of them started to feel, when we were in the crown, like, this is not for me, and retrieving, right? Their energy started to get unfocused and started closing. The way I see it is as if the lotus was coming close again and being absorbed by the body. So that is why I was talking people through to tell them that you are worth of this experience. You are worth it. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I want you to hear it as I felt it. You are not going to be left behind. You are not going to be left behind. And every experience you are worth having if you allow yourself, if you love yourself. It doesn't matter what kind of love you give yourself in your mind. As easy as picturing yourself as that teddy bear will allow you to love yourself. The teddy bear that you might have had, you might have played with. Everything is love. And you are able to 100% have this experience. And this is not an experience that will harm you or hurt you. By getting to know more of you. As you did in this moment and you allowed it to flow, You allowed yourself to experience who you are in your energy, in God's divine light. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No,
That was beautiful.
beautiful. I have a question though about the process, because earlier you mentioned that each time you go into your heart space, it can look and feel differently. Is that based on what they're trying to draw your awareness to? Like if there's healing work, then it might show up. Because my experience was I went into a cave, but it was a crystal cave, so it was a beautiful cave. But I felt the energy of the cave when you're like, oh, and it might be this open meadow, and it might be this open, and I'm like, yeah, why am I in a cave? You know, but I felt like, but even as I asked that question, I was feeling like I want to be alone. I don't want all this energy coming at me. I feel safe in this cave. It's beautiful. There's energy here, but there's a part of myself that's hiding out here, like. And then the darkness of the cave gave me information, like there is some healing work that I need to do.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah, and I got this message yesterday because I was asking my guides. I was having this kind of a weird day where my schedule was off and I was having to drive here and drive there, and I got this appointment wrong, and I was just trying to stay centered with it. But I'm asking, like, as I'm driving, like, what do I need to know? Like, what's my lessons or themes, or what do I need to be aware of today for myself? And it just kept, this heart chakra thing kept coming up, like healing of the heart chakra, healing of the heart chakra. And I'm like, okay, I guess I need to do some healing work with that. And then I was even seeing emeralds, the color emerald, coming up through the meditation that you just did. So it's all like guiding me somewhere, but I just thought that was really interesting.
But that's the very important thing, that within your heart space, you can receive. You don't have to go into the records. Within your heart space, bringing yourself to this openness of everything you're bringing to know, and you can ask those questions within you. And you can ask, what work do I need to do? Why am I in this cave? Why is this cave being presented to me? Why is it crystals? What crystals are there? So it's a very beautiful space to be. I've had great experiences, and I can go on and on about my experiences but there's nothing like experiencing you and you having your experience that is just beautiful. And it doesn't matter what it is. And the reason that I was saying open, because a lot of people have open spaces in their mind, but by me saying open is allowing people to freely flow into the space that they are in, whether it is a house, an apartment, a chair, it doesn't matter. It is where you need to be. It's not where I'm guiding you. I'm just showing you the doors. And there's too many of us for me to just pinpoint one thing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That was so good, Marjorie. I really do want to thank you for joining us today and being a repeat guest with us.
Yes, thank you.
If anyone wants to book a session with Marjorie and get a one-on-one session, you can visit her on her Facebook page, The Pyramid Within. And she is quite good. I think she said, I think 3 or 4 of us have had a session with her one-on-one, and she really is quite good at what she does, as you've all seen what we've just gone through. Anything you want to comment on that, Marjorie?
No, I'm glad to be here and share the knowledge. I am just really glad to be open to allowing people to actually hear more about the Akashic Records, that they're not just this thing that is accessible to some people and not all of us, or this thing that is only going to show you the past or the bad things that you have done. It's a very beautiful tool.
Absolutely. Lots of thanks, lots of appreciations. That was wonderful. Well, I hope everyone take advantage and at least go to Marjorie's Facebook page, leave a review, leave a comment, book a session, and as Marjorie said, we need to share this information out because that's what we are here on this planet really to do, is to help each other awaken and side onto the side of love and really see who we really are. And Marjorie is definitely one of the light workers that we're very grateful to have on this earth. So thank you, Marjorie.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So let's wrap up the show. Christy, I'm coming to you. I'm wondering, do you have anything coming up? I'm waiting for the next meditation to be coming up on your channel.
I don't have anything coming up right yet.
So excited! You're leaving us in anticipation. It's.
I'll post it. I'll post it as soon as I do. You'll know right away.
Can't wait. And how about you, Jenny? What's going on in your world?
Well, my world's about the same as Christy's world right now. They're rolling around in my head, and I just got to get it out on video and get it done. So hopefully this week, but stay tuned. More coming.
Love that. And Brother Duck, what's going on in your world?
Well, I've had some good news and bad news. The good news is that the bad news. No, I don't know what it is.
The news.
The news. Yeah, it's neither good nor bad. It is. Yeah. Okay. So the interesting news has been I've obviously had COVID and still getting over it. As is my wife. With the even better news that it isn't man flu, so I'm going to survive. My goodness, I'm going to survive. But more importantly, I've got a few videos like friends here have got buzzing around their heads, just trying to figuring out the time to get it down and not cough too much into the microphone. So apologies for going mute for quite a lot. Anyway, but there we are. That's it. Over to you.
Lovely. And definitely, Rachel, I know you got something going on. You always have something going on. So what's going on with you?
Yeah, so tomorrow we have our live mediumship practice in my private Facebook group that Con and I host. And so that's on Thursdays at 12:30 Eastern. And then I am in the process of creating invites in an event for next Friday, April 29th. That's going to be part of my Meet the Galactics series. It's also a live event on my Facebook group. And next Friday, we'll be bringing in the tall whites. So as a galactic race, and I usually invite people to come live with me who have tall white guides on their team or have some kind of connection with that race. And so we all just kind of practice bringing in those guides and sensing energies, and you can join us in the comments, or if you want to practice live with us, there's a limited number of spots, but I'm going to be posting that on my group. So I'll be, look for that maybe sometime today, but that's it. That's what I've got.
Awesome. I love the tall whites. Been working with them for a while. I'm part of it.
Yeah, you should come on with me for that show. I think I'm trying to do it like after your event that day. I don't know if you are available, but
maybe.
Yeah.
This week is pretty full, but next week opens up. But
Yeah.
Either way, let's talk. But I don't want to manipulate your time either on a lot of your shows. So, but I'm always here if you need me. So no worries on that. And then for myself, tomorrow I'm going to be on Rachel's Facebook group. We are watching a little dog here. Pardon me. Well, that's not too loud. And so we're let's see. So tomorrow is Thursday. Going to be on Rachel's practice session. Friday we'll be channeling Eric again. And I just finished actually from our sound meditation from last week. I created a short meditation of just that, and I have that over to Mike right now for his approval, so we can post that up. So that's going to be coming out soon. And I actually have been recording my vlog daily of my meditations and experiences quite a bit. And I have all that kind of edited. I have it recorded. Now now that I'm back from Easter, I'll be able to record that and put that out on my Patreon channel. So very excited for all that. Yeah. Exciting. That's it for me.
Great. Lots of stuff happening.
Busy.
Thank you all to all of our people in our audience for kind of coming down and participating in our spiritual growth. So much love and appreciation for you all. And until what's next week? Oh, yeah. So next week we have Rita Mustafa is going to be on. My wife will be on, and she's going to teach us how to use a pendulum and muscle testing. And then I think next month, the month after, she's going to teach us how to use that pendulum and muscle testing to test our pets. So this week, so next the Wednesday coming up will be the practice. We'll be learning how to. We'll have a month to practice, and then next month we'll actually be able to test our pets on imbalances and issues that they have, because they really respond well to energy, pendulums, muscle testing, and homeopathics. So that will be coming up soon. So yeah, so please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know how your experience was with Marjorie's meditation. And please remember, go show Marjorie some love. Visit her page at The Pyramid Within. And Marjorie, as always, we are so thankful and so grateful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Until next week, everybody, much love.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.